And this is September 21st, 2021. We're calling to order the Alamance County Board of Elections. We are at the MedCap building, and our audience is able to listen remotely. We have a quorum present. So at this time, we will approve the minutes from the September 14th. No, first we'll approve the agenda. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So move. Second.
Properly moved and second that the agenda be approved. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Motion carries. Now we will approve the minutes from September 14th, 2021, and from the emergency meeting that was held on September 17th, 2021. Okay. Have you read the minutes? Okay.
Motion to approve. Second.
Properly moved to second that we approve the minutes from September 14th and the emergency meeting from September 17th. Are there any corrections or deletions to either the September 14th or the September 17th minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Motion carries. Down to the director's information to the board.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have with me here today Joel Brooks, who you heard me mention several times. They are like our plus one as a department. They're a good support system to us through taking things out to the early voting sites, delivering our election day things, picking them up. Like I said, they're a plus one. We appreciate them. Now, Joel has agreed because last night, the chair went before the commissioners, and it was presented to her that we needed to have a plan as far as the number of square feet that we need, and a layout, and we should be looking for somewhere to move to.
We should be looking.
Is that what you think?
They ask us they will continue to look, but they ask that we
The Board of Elections, or we the staff, or
all of us,
With anybody.
all of us,
everybody should be looking, in other words.
yes. We the board, we the staff, and they the commissioners.
Is there somebody with the county that would be specifically their job?
We're looking at Joel.
Well, we're glad to have you here then.
So I've asked Joel to be with us primarily to help us maybe for him to tell you what we've done as far as square footage and where we are, as far as what we've asked for before, maybe figure out where we can incorporate some growth. But, he's not going to be able to answer questions that you're going to want to answer from the commissioners. He is like us.
Yes. Hey, good afternoon. How's everybody today?
Wow.
I have some information that might help y'all with just knowing what we're dealing with. This is the current information. Kathy has not seen this yet. I'm going to surprise her with this as well. This is the existing storage. This is the existing office space. Square footage and information like that we are basically going off of to try to find a building. Sherry and myself have been searching for many buildings. As soon as we find a building, we start the process, and then what happens is somebody comes in and buys it before we can even get the processing done. So we have been looking for a building. We were hoping this was going to be the building, but it turns out it's not. So now we're making some arrangements. But inside the packet, you will see what's I had to make some changes. So I put in there kind of like the building checklist. It's a very short list, but if you know Kathy, you have to know she has a very long list of requirements, and I'm trying to meet all those requirements, which eliminates a lot of buildings, because you have to have, location is always a key, accessibility, parking, threw in their working utilities, because she wants to have power, water, sewer, all this other good stuff. So this is basically just a short, brief introduction to what we are trying to look for, as far as the checklist items. The building itself, minimum 10,000 square feet. If you think about everything we have, I think we have roughly 6,000 in storage. Right now, our storage capacity is 6,338, which is spread out all over the county between our, yeah, I don't want to include that as yours, that's your standby storage, I guess. Between Medicap, the storage unit down the street, we even put her attic space. I don't know if y'all been in her attic, but she has stuff stored up there. So we are trying to find a place, one that is a conditioned warehouse that can handle up to 6,000 square feet. That's what we need right now. But if we, as a county, continues to grow, we're going to need to expand that more. So we can't just limit ourselves to a 6,000 square foot facility. We have to say we have to be able to grow with that. So that's why I'm saying, minimum of 10,000 square foot storage only. That doesn't really, that you still have to have offices, you have to have support staff and everything else. So I think that's why we were looking at about a 12,000 square foot storage facility. We have a couple that we're looking at right now. We have actually 3 places. What happens is we have to look at it, make sure it works. Then we bring Kathy in, say, Kathy, what do you think about this? And she'll go down her checklist. And then there's also the upfits that required to these buildings. There is no move-in ready, hey, this is perfect, let's just move right in type of building. We'll have to go in, and we're probably looking at spending about around $300,000 just to upfit a building. That's in addition to the square footage cost. Most buildings right now are about $10 to $12 a square foot. We're looking at a 13 to a 20,000 square foot building. So that means our cost every month is probably going to be about $16,000 just for the lease. And then we pay for the upfit on it. So we are actively searching for a building. Like I said, we've got 3 on the radar. We haven't talked to the commissioners about it, but we're negotiating these items. Any input y'all have, I'm always available. You can ask Kathy or Dawn or Judson, Karen, they pretty much all have my number. But this is what we're working off of: square footage, building size, offices. And I think this was the information that y'all would need. I did include a layout of the existing office just to kind of show you, and I know y'all been there many, many times, so it's too small for what they have. We've packed them in and out. That was before COVID. It was too small. Now it's really too small, and we've tried to do a little bit of separation. And that is all I have. Any questions?
Joel, what if we purchased a building that maybe where we could move the Board of Elections out of the current building, and it would say maybe fit the need for 50% of the property that was stored? Would that be an interest in the county? Be interested in that? And it was right in downtown Grant.
We have looked at purchasing, but usually they always look at the leasing side of things, but that's not,
I
I can't
understand.
answer that question.
I understand.
But, yeah, if there is a property that meets all of our checklist, that is something we'd be interested in looking at.
So the 3 that you are looking at now, are they are all leased for lease and nothing that can be
They are
purchased?
leased, that is correct. They are all currently up for lease, and that's the only ones that we could find of that size. Now, I am going to look at another building downtown Graham this week. I don't know if it's gonna be big enough, but it is for sale. So we are looking at both options. We're not limited to just leased items. We're open to purchasing if we can find the right building, right location, the right layout, my 3 Rs. Because if it's too far in the country, then it's no good to us. It needs to be somewhere centrally located as best as possible. And there is some options, but we got to find the one that fits our needs the most. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just an extension of Kathy's arm, to get this done. That's what we're trying to do. And like I said, we have been working on this for months, especially when we found out we were going to lose these two in October. Luckily, the owner called me about some changes and extended the lease. And it's like, can we do it? It's like, yeah, we can do it. I don't want to move in the middle of election. That would not be good for us. So, but we are, again, actively searching. Anything.
We got the lease through the end of November.
Yeah.
So we're here
good.
through the end of November.
Okay.
I didn't know you didn't tell me.
Well, that's my home.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, they were talking about it last night, so that's why.
One of the things that we need to be careful of is we discuss the possibility of moving to future places is probably just to keep it between ourselves. And the reason for that is when folks start hearing, well, the county's looking at this or the county's looking at that, then the price does this. It goes up. So we need to really be careful about not mentioning any definite location as we go through this endeavor. That's just my personal opinion. I think my attorney over here to this side would say that's wise wisdom. Yeah.
When will you be speaking with the Board of Commissioners about the 3 buildings that you have considered?
Well, right now I'm waiting on the estimates to get back to me. I have 2 of the estimates. I'm waiting on a third
Estimate for the upgrades?
for the upgrades and what it will cost if we, sometimes what we like to do is we include the upgrades in the lease price.
Yes.
So we're only paying them, here's your lease, we're paying this amount, you take care of all the construction. We've changed that now. Some of them we're opening up to, the county's gonna pay for the upfit, and then that lowers the lease price down, so it's a little bit cheaper for us in the long run. But, so I'm just waiting for that information to get back. He's working on some calculations. My side of it is I kind of took their building and I do a drawing based on what I think Kathy would need and want. And then they take that drawing and kind of come and get a price off of that or an estimate off of that. And that's what they're working on now is trying to figure out a ballpark figure. That's how I got about 300,000. That's the going rate right now for new construction or upfits, as we call it.
Well, now they had money in the budget last night for this building. It had Medcap pay fund because Brian Haygood wanted to use that money to pay for something last night. What was it?
Social services.
The social services. However, the county commissioners voted it down and told him to use ARP money. So there is still that money that they were going to use for this building. That's $1 million+. I was looking really carefully because I knew I was going to present. $1 million+ in that budget alone, in that line item alone. Plus, even after doing what they're going to do with social services, there is still going to be an additional 28 million still left in ARP funds. So it's not as if there are no funds available. Because so there are funds.
There is funds. I try to stay out of that side of it. I just try to do keep the peace side and find what we need that's gonna fit for us, and that's, but there is funds out there. I don't know how much is available.
Well, I listened.
So I know that ultimately, where the offices are located right now is probably not going to be the permanent or setting for those offices. So if we can't find a place that is that suits everything, is the goal to just find some sort of warehouse setting that can store everything, and then, I'm just thinking of the difference between trying to find something that can suit everything right now as opposed. So when you're saying you have 3 locations, is that 3 locations that would handle just the warehouse side of everything, or something that would encompass everything?
The 3 locations I've looked at include the offices and the warehouse. So the smallest one is 13,000 square feet. The largest is 20,000 square feet. So there's plenty of room for growth, and that's one of my top priorities is to have the offices, a board meeting room, so you don't know randomly where you're going to meet at, and the storage for all the equipment, all in one facility, so that we don't have to go to 5 or 6 locations.
You don't have to convince us of
Yeah.
the wisdom of one facility. That's-
Yeah. One facility does everything, everything's in there, trying to go through all her checks and the things like simple, all the way down to a generator. We got to have a generator hookup. Most places don't have that, so we got to just make sure we have a hookup ready, and that would be part of the upfit. The upfit, the cost is primarily the offices is where the cost is, because we are talking, warehouses tend to have high ceilings. We're dropping ceilings down, making it so that we can have a boardroom, offices, a nice sized lobby is always a priority with the Board of Elections, because you have people coming in. You don't want them in the back with your staff, so they need to have an area to stay kind of separate. So these are all designs that I put in, and I throw it out there, and I tell them, what can you do for us? Actively, again, searching. Realtors, they don't know, I think, what we want. They just say, oh, we got a property here, we got a property there. I can look at it and say, no, that's not what we need. We've got to have parking. That's a big thing. Every time, if y'all been downtown, we're trying to get cars in and out of that little parking. It doesn't work. So that's one of my priorities. 2 of the places I have more than enough parking for Kathy or the state, actually. They have a very large parking area, and that's what I'm pushing for. So once we get further along, get everything together, go to the commissioners, and then we'll be able to kind of say, look, we do have 3 options, and then they make the decision on which one we go with. Actually, I don't even think they make the decision. They just approve whether or not we're spending the money. I think y'all would make the decision on the location. I don't know how that works. Somebody has to say sold. But we also don't want to just make that decision without having input from everybody. Kind of why I'm here, input, let me know if there's information that y'all need. I can usually get a hold of it. But I think that once you start looking out there, you'll see the same problems we're running into. Things are selling faster than we, as the county, can move on them, because there's a lot of hurdles to jump over in order to get things where we need them. And, down to drawings, having a site evaluation done. These are all things that come into play and take time and money, but we are moving on it. We don't want anybody to think it's not a priority. I lay awake at night trying to get this done. So one less thing to do.
Has there been any discussion at all about new construction? I know it wouldn't solve our immediate needs, but
That was one of the commissioner's ideas, was to look at a lot and then build something for the election side. Of course, that's gonna cost twice as much as an existing building. I still think, the 300,000 just for an upfit is pretty cheap. This one was gonna be around 700,000 because they had to gut everything and then redo it. Some of the places I've looked at, they're already kind of down at their bare bones. So all they gotta do is come in, put walls up, sheetrock, ceilings, flooring, we're done. Plumbing's already there, structure's already there, parking's already there, loading docks are there. That's always a key thing for me is loading docks, because if you try to get this stuff in and off of trucks, it takes time, and time is very important. Especially now we're doing extra deliveries with all the PPE stuff that has to be. It's very time consuming, takes a lot of time out of our schedule, and I know everybody else's schedule, so. But that is one of the things for the new construction, that would take a lot longer.
Well, Commissioner Paisley mentioned last night about the new construction that is going to take place down at the, what is it?
The J.B. Allen.
J.B. Allen. And he said that, he would like to even consider adding the Board of Elections, that's what, to that building, and have all of the, let's say, governmental type offices and so forth in one location, even if it had to be a second floor. He said you're going to have to put elevators in it anyway. So he mentioned that. Now certainly that wouldn't, but it would answer what you said. If we had a spot for now, I know that building's not going to go up until, it's going to take some time. However, that would solve a permanent place, and you would know you would have room for growth, because they certainly wouldn't build anything small there. So he did mention that last night.
He said that was kind of quickly. How quickly?
Quickly means that it won't even start construction until 2 years from now.
And then it'll take 2 more years.
Well, no, 2 years meaning, it'd probably take about, you have a year for the architect. We haven't selected the architect yet, so I'm also on that committee. So you select your architect takes about a year to do the drawings for it. We're talking about a 3-story building. We want to go 4 stories, but the city of Graham restricts how high you can go. You can't go more than 50 feet. So the 3-story building isn't really big enough for the law that we have going in. The judicial clerks, the DAs, the judges, all of them people going in. So we really want to either, since we can't go up, we're going to have to go out more. It's something they're still drawing. So I'm just referring to what you were talking about. Adding another department in there would be tight. I don't know if we would have the storage capacity there, which means we'd be another building. But after the architect's done, then it goes out for bid. That takes time when it comes back. So you plan on about 2 years, start to finish.
So who's going to be in the civil annex building then, if everybody's going over there?
So the civil annex building, right next to the county office building, what the long range plan is those courtrooms kind of get converted over to offices so that the county office building that's kind of packed in can expand out. Maybe creating one of those courtrooms into the commissioner's room so that we have a larger seating capacity. That's the long range plan, talking 5-10 years down the road to convert those over once the judicial side's moved out.
So December 1st, what do we anticipate doing with our stuff? Has there been discussion about that?
Only last night.
Well, now we have been looking at.
I know that we need that somewhere.
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna take care of you. So what I'm also negotiating is that we are in the process of looking at these three buildings. These three buildings, I'm trying to negotiate a smaller side of the building that we could utilize for the storage of the stuff that we have that is not a high security risk during construction. So it's a agreement that, hey, we're gonna lease this property from you, but we need some storage now. Can we utilize another one of your properties for this? I'm in the process. So whichever company we decide to go with, I'm trying to get them to provide us with the storage. And so far it's been received well. We have some that say, if you are gonna do this, then, it's just, we'll consider it part of that lease and we won't even charge you for it. So, and I'm looking at about a 5,000 square foot area for storage. Non-secure, it's the non-essential storage stuff that we need pretty much.
What will we do about secure stuff?
Yeah.
March.
So we still have the view. Okay, so we haven't given up the view yet, so we'll still be able to keep the stuff that was in this building. We have to relocate it somewhere else. That I'm working on. I'm trying.
What you want?
I'm trying. So y'all give me that blank check, I will do whatever y'all need.
Now, about the generator. We had the generator put on the back of our building.
The hookup, yeah.
Should we find another building? Are we gonna take that generator from there to the other building?
So,
Or,
that kind of stuff doesn't always transfer well, depending, but it might be something that we can do, but the cost effect of it, you would probably still have to spend about $10,000 to have it hooked up. You'd have to have the unhook, whatever it would cost, and then a rehook. So sometimes it's better just to go ahead and buy new. If I, what I'm looking at is I'm trying to include all that in the upfit, including your shredder, making sure we have 3-phase for the shredder, because we don't want a $10,000 shredder just sitting somewhere.
and we need to discuss about that too, if we can put that at your facility. We're gonna lose the grant funds if we don't take possession of the product. So we need somewhere to put that immediately.
Does it come in a crate? Do you know?
The way they sounded to me, I don't know if it comes, I can find out, I'll call and find out for you.
Find out. If we can, we can store it at the shop.
Y'all can use it, you're welcome to use it.
I don't have 3-phase, so I can't use it.
We would like to have somewhere where we could plug it up and use it. Is there anywhere in the county that has that?
It would have to be county office building, but if it goes there, it won't come back out. But if y'all can get it here, we'll find a place to store it. So, but we are actively working. We got a whole bunch of stuff going on. We're trying to divide up and get through the elections, along with trying to make sure, at least now we have a little breathing room with this building, that we're not going to be, trying to move stuff out of here during elections, because I don't have the staff. I'm, like everybody else, we're down to 3 people as far as our technicians off of a six-man team. So it's hitting everybody hard, and we didn't want to have to move stuff, but we do have a backup plan if we had to. So our plan is, after elections, we will consolidate, move what we can out, and then find other places to store. Hopefully we can find a home that is a permanent, that y'all don't have to move, like you were saying last night. You don't have to move every 4 or 5 years, or 2 years. Yes.
In some cases, it was every year. Because we started with 1993 and bought them all the way up to today.
Anything else I can help y'all with? And
So how much of this do you think we'll be able to report at our meeting with the commissioners on October 4th.
If I can get the other estimates, and then this is something I think that if you're okay with it, we can work together and try to come up with something. I have a PowerPoint presentation, that's what these are. And if they say, yeah, go ahead and share it, I can give you the PowerPoint, y'all can look at it, y'all can update it, and that could be part of what you need, because all this is just on a slide. You know, this is what your needs are. That's what I was trying to do, is just make it as simple as possible. Here's our square footage that we're in now. Here's what we need. Here's our checklist. We can't just have a random building. You know, it has to be a secured building, you know. And then, I mean, by October 4th, that's about a week and a half away. I should have some more information. I'll be in touch with Kathy. I'll tell her if I can release it or not, and y'all can use it on the 4th. I should have something by then.
We meet every Tuesday now through the November election, so
Okay.
if there's a cause for you to come back before the board, I know we're willing.
I should have, I mean, like I said, I'm waiting on the last one. I just have to get it submitted, so it's not a surprise for anybody as far as the commissioner. And then once they see it, okay, then I'll bring it to y'all, and then, you know, maybe even by next Tuesday I could do it.
Now, Brian, would that classify going, since it's something the commissioners have not been privy to, and, you know, would that classify as a closed session meeting if he wanted to tell us the property locations?
That was my thought. I mean, that it would probably need to be something that would be not public information.
Yeah, we don't want to announce it like you are saying, just because.
Hey, normally, that's what we would do in the past, as commissioners, if we discussed property that we were looking to buy, we would have a closed session, is what we had to discuss that.
So we have one more meeting of this board before the next commissioners meeting.
Yeah, because they, yeah.
Because they meet on Monday and we meet on Tuesday.
Technically, too,
Technically, 2 meetings.
because on October the 4th, you have a 5 o'clock board meeting, because that's the day before the October primary. And the commissioners meeting gets until 7.
Kathy, have we,
No, is it at 7? I thought we were at 9:30 on.
Oh, that's right, that's the morning meeting.
yeah.
The 4th is the morning.
Never mind,
One
Kathy,
meeting.
done. One,
have we done a study looking at counties our size to see what they're doing in terms of, are they in new buildings?
Oh, yeah.
Are they doing, have we done that study or?
no, because very few boards of elections are moving around. We have, what is it, Rockingham, Randolph, which one is it, down Ashboro, is that Rockingham?
Randolph.
Randolph.
Randolph County is the newest. Before that, there was Forsyth County, and they went into that big, huge, old tobacco warehouse, which the rest of the governmental agencies.
So Randolph built a new building, what, 2 years ago maybe?
They didn't build a building. They went into a, strip mall,
Okay,
into a, it was an old shoe show,
Yeah,
large,
they have a nice
Storefront.
place though.
Yeah.
They have a really, really nice place.
So, you know, there really hasn't been a lot of movement in our district. Now, there may be outside of our district that I wouldn't be aware of.
okay.
Orange County has a nice spot. Mhm.
And they were in the building there on, was it Elizabeth, Margaret, I can't remember, one of those nice names. And then they took on the other building right around
Yeah,
the corner
around
for
the
the
corner.
storage underneath.
Mhm. They have a nice,
Not new buildings, but they just
Right.
renovated them
yeah, it's really nice.
Basically the same thing that we're looking at doing.
as a result of their county government built a new facility. Well, Joel, what do you think?
Anything else? You know how to get hold of them?
Joel, give me your phone number. I'm gonna give you a call.
You okay with that?
I'll text you his information.
Yeah, just text it to me. That'll
I'll
work.
send
Thanks.
Oh, if you got cards too, good job.
Yeah, that'll work too. Thank you,
Should I
sir.
have enough?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one short, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Kathy got my number.
Speaking of,
Yes.
I'll donate mine to the chair.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Thanks, Joe.
so I will say that if anybody is looking after our needs and knows what we do, Joel has been involved with the day-to-day operations in his department, not just him, but his department. They know where we're spread out. They know how we take supplies in on election night. They know what we do to get them out. They know how we are when we're backed up with staff in the office and the toilets overflow. So if another department knows us, it's that department. So, but it's getting the other departments to us.
Yeah. I think they were sort of caught off guard when I saw the MedCap money that they wanted to move.
You saw me texting you.
But I had mentioned it. And then Brian said, hadn't you thought about that? Well, he said, but they voted it down. I said, I know, because I was shaking my head. No, you can't take that. You need that.
Because we don't have anything this minute that we can't use it. Spend it.
Which is why I told them the reason we were presenting last night was so it could be a part of their minutes. That we were asking to come and present to the commissioners. And so that, we could, but the first thing I asked them, because I was trying to rush through I knew it was a 3-minute, but they didn't have a clock on.
I noticed they let you go.
But Steve called, said I went over 3 minutes, but Bill Ashley said it was okay because I was not making a public comment. He said, she's actually presenting to us. He said, yeah, giving us, he said, so it's okay that she went over 3 minutes, but the news was there. So I guess they found it necessary to make sure that they did it. But the first thing I asked when I got there is to the commissioners, I said, where do we go after November 30th?
There you
And then just ran down from 1993. And some of them were amazed. They don't know. Some did, they didn't know that we were at the dog pound.
Well, I'll tell you, my contact with commissioners, they weren't as aware as we thought that they were
Not aware.
as far as what was going on. So,
That is true because Pam Thompson mentioned this morning that after I finished last night, she said that Bill Ashley said, we really have to they really have to have a place.
That is true.
He said, they really
And we have 10 weeks.
have a place. And she mentioned that this morning at another meeting. That they said they really, it's like you tell them, but you're not, but they haven't been in to see all of this. But when you started reading down, because you have had given me we had some excellent information that I was trying to rush through. And, imagine laptops, and you went from that, ever how many pounds a laptop would be when we were using those, to now equipment that weighed 55 pounds and you had 357 of them, or 56 of them. Where are you going to put it? And, that type thing.
And then we moved to this with the big trash can.
Yes. So, I was able to try to just rush through all of that. And then we even got to the part where we were going in the Ralph Scott building and couldn't go because they needed that to quarantine.
No, that was this, if I did that incorrectly, that was this facility.
Yeah,
We were supposed to move into here
yeah,
and after the election, because they didn't get it done in time.
right.
And then after the election, they told me that we were gonna have to hold up because the sheriff was gonna need a place to quarantine
Prison,
COVID prisoners
COVID prisoners.
in our office. You remember that?
Yeah, so, you know,
And they, now,
but I mean, you know, some of the places and things, they were just amazed that we were at the, you know, the site,
felony jail.
felony jail. It's like, you know, so I made sure I
Do
read
you
it.
remember it was the 287G program and we had that, facility down where the bus lot is?
And it's called we call it the annex now.
Cause it's not there.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking
The,
about.
Yeah.
it is. The, over there by where they keep all the school buses, they have a jail over there now. So I think it's actually now the women's jail.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought they tore the whole thing down.
It's like an old army base.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
We
still
were-
there.
We were in there in a little white building. Little
Yeah,
white fitted white building.
yeah.
It was the annex, and I think now it's where they're keeping all the female.
Yeah, before that, I think they kept the US Marshals
Yeah,
prisoners.
they
in
kept
there.
a bunch of the ICE guys and everything, yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, so when you start reading all of the places where we had, you know, had been, it's like, you know, so I think when we do present, we want to make sure that sheet is included.
And I can do it in different ways. I can do it, I separated it out by voting equipment,
Yeah.
secure things and non-secure things.
Yeah.
I can do it in a timeline to show that, like you said, about every year. So we're having
Yes.
to move something somewhere.
That's right, since 1993. Yeah. So, okay. But I thought it was received well last night, so
Thank you, Dorothy, for
You
presenting.
did a
Oh,
great
absolutely.
job.
absolutely no problem. I was,
You planted the seed last night, Madam Chair. You did a good job.
thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we were out by 9 o'clock. Wow.
They usually have pretty quick meetings.
They were trying,
I hear later.
Yeah,
yeah, and,
Glory be.
well, I said used to.
Yeah.
We're not chair.
well, Chair
34 minutes
Paisley
one
was on, Zoom, and, he likes to talk.
Yeah.
He told them after he talked to me for maybe 30 to 45 minutes, he and I had a conversation. He said, then I asked her if she had 3.5 minutes for a joke, a Bob Hope joke. And he did. Yeah. So, okay, any questions about, the storage building update? And we'll keep them posted about the October 4th, because, you know, things could change. But right now, we are on for the 9:30 meeting, October 4th. Yeah, Monday, October 4th at 9:30. But they will notify Kathy because Chair Paisley and the county manager sets the agenda and we'll, yeah, so in case we have to send a reminder. Okay?
Monday, October 4th at 9:30.
Yeah. But we'll keep you posted on that. Okay. Okay, now we're down to the approval of the absentee ballot applications.
Okay, this week we have 8 that have been returned, and the list this time.
Huh?
I said I printed the list this time, didn't bring the actual. And this is from last week. Y'all approved these 2 last week. Y'all signed the actual ballots. This is what I forgot to, I neglected to, bring last week for y'all to sign.
Okay.
So we just need to initial the sheets.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And as of today, we've had 6, for this election, for the October primary, we've had 67 requests and 10 totals been returned. And so far to date, we've had 43 valid requests for the November election. We just haven't processed. They won't, not time for them to go out. And for early voting, called before we left, they've had 31 so far today and 150. So we've had 181 to vote early so far. And so here's the applications. You'll sign, I'll pass around for you.
You want one of these signed too, right?
I think that's next, I think. That's the precinct numbers. I'll go get it past this. There's 3 of them.
Okay.
This was last week, that was this week. Thank you.
Okay, any questions for Don or Kathy about the absentee ballots? Do you have any questions about what you've heard from them so far? Okay, hearing none, we'll move down to the next item on the agenda, which is the approval of chief judge or judge appointments and replacements. And you were given this sheet early. So Kathy.
Just need to sign one of them.
Okay, so we are replacing,
We're replacing Penny Pettigrew. No, we're replacing James Myers with Penny Pettigrew.
okay,
And James is taking a job in Kentwood. Is that okay?
I haven't even heard. I haven't.
It's the one that everyone raved about.
okay, so we understand that. Any questions? Okay, I will sign this one and pass it around. For those of you who want to keep yours, we just need to sign one sheet. Okay, thank you. Okay, while that sheet is going around, Madam Executive Director, is there anything else to come before us today?
Well, let's just spend a minute on the Twin Lakes situation.
Absolutely.
If you don't mind. We have gotten the temporary transfer of the 58 voters in that neighborhood. What we have talked to Twin Lakes about this week is, the state isn't inclined to separate up a precinct to transfer part of its voters and not another part of the voters. When we gave the Twin Lakes North Boone 2 precinct, in the very beginning, it was called a satellite precinct. It wasn't even a precinct. It was part of North Boone and a satellite. then when we had to start doing, voter tabulation districts, it had to be named as its own precinct. And so it went with the same boundaries that it had, because at that time it was still within the line boundaries. And we named it North Boone 2. So now it's in 3 precincts because of their expansion. And inside one of the precincts are people who do not live on the Twin Lakes campus. And that is what the issue was last week, is getting those people transferred. And again, the state is not inclined to continue to do that. And we cannot split the census blocks, and Dawn can explain that to you further if you'd like for her to. So we spoke to Twin Lakes, both of us today, well, me yesterday, and you,
Yesterday.
I think we're both on. And we think that the only solution is going to be to put the Twin Lakes residents in the precinct that they're in proper, which is going to split them into 3 separate precincts. And we would not have the Twin Lakes facility used at all, because we can't get onto the facility except for when they grant us access, which is not fair to the other voters.
Has that been explained to the people at Twin Lakes, and they still don't want those folks coming over and voting? Well,
So I mean, we are in a rock and a hard place, and Don, can you go into that a little further?
Yeah.
It should, if y'all, I think you was on the board, I'm not sure who was on the board when we did the census
Yes.
study, and we had that one section that had voters from the Ashley Woods area. It was 3 streets, and it's the even side of the street that butts up against Twin Lakes and part of Twin Lakes in this census block. And the state, told us under no circumstances can you split census blocks. So it was either the voters within this census block that lived in Twin Lakes, y'all could vote to have them sent to West Boone, or have the West Boone voters from those 3 roads transferred into Twin Lakes. And at that time, y'all chose to have those 3 streets, the 58 voters currently, go into Twin Lakes. So that's where the issue, lies, that they're now in the Twin Lakes precinct. But unless you can prove that you're vaccinated, Twin Lakes isn't allowing you on their site, and we can't ask a voter if they've been vaccinated. So we're having to do the temporary transfer.
Now, the expansion up 70.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, currently there's, let me go back to this one. There's people currently living on it's Christmas Lane. You know which area I'm talking about?
Yeah.
There's like 3 roads down here.
Right.
And all of those people are in the West Boone precinct. They live in the Twin Lakes community,
yeah.
but the line splits them from being inside of North Boone. So they are already another precinct there.
The census block.
Yeah. And then, then the precinct line over here where they're currently building is it the healthcare facility?
Yeah.
Down near Church Street.
Yeah.
All of that is in Central Boone. And so we can't move precinct lines either,
No.
And so we have Central Boone, we'll have Central Boone when people start registering, in this area. And then we have the North Boone 2, which is inside, and then we have West Boone precinct, all in the community of Twin Lakes.
So we're going to need to look for something somewhere close by that we can have the North Boone 2 Twin Lakes voters and the 58 go to off of the Twin Lakes campus.
West Boone is still voting at Best Smith.
Yeah, and a possibility could be, if we could, I mean, this is like, you remember the Andy Griffith show where Barney was trying to give everybody their house away and moving everybody?
Yeah,
Well, this is kind of like that.
Could we
If
do
we
both?
could find somewhere in Gibsonville
Okay.
for the West Boone people to vote.
Yeah.
Then we could take Best Smith Park and use that as North Boone too, because it is in North
It's-
Boone too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's on the line, and we have special permission to let the West Boone people vote there. So if we could find somewhere in the Alamance County side of Gibsonville, but we tried that for so long and couldn't find anything.
That's why they're at Best Smith.
That's why they're
Yeah.
at Best Smith. So that little area there is not, it doesn't have a lot of facilities.
Because downtown Gibsonville is technically in Guilford, right?
That's correct.
yes. Is Lenny still the mayor?
Yeah.
Until November.
no,
No,
Till
is
January.
it not?
he's not up.
Theirs is 4 years.
Yeah, yeah, so he's not up yet. They have two.
We got
aldermen.
some 4, some 2.
Yeah, and he's a 4 year, so he's
So-
not up.
So the possible solution to all of this is that North Boone 2 votes at Beth Smith. The people who are in the Coble Creek healthcare are in Central Boone. They would vote in Central Boone.
And that's Trinity Worship Center.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then the people who are were voting at Twin Lakes would then be voting in West Boone. No, in,
At Best Smith.
Best Smith.
The people who's voting, West Room's currently voting in Best Smith.
right,
And so we would have to find a new place for West Boone.
okay.
And then the North Boone 2, Twin Lakes would go to Best Smith.
All right, and then how about the 3 people or 3 households?
The streets, the
Yeah.
3 streets down there, they are in West Boone. So wherever we moved to West Boone, they would have to go to those
I
places.
see, okay,
They're already in West Boone.
Yeah.
okay, all right.
And there's very few locations to even find in
West Boone.
West Boone.
Yeah.
Boone.
So, but currently West Boone, the one you're talking about, they're voting at Twin Lakes.
West Boone is voting at Best
Best
Smith.
Smith.
The Twin Lakes folks are voting on Twin Lakes.
On Twin
Except
Lakes.
for the 58. And
Yeah.
now we've moved the 58 to West Boone.
Right.
This time and last time.
Right, yeah, I remember us moving to 58. So now who are we trying to move now?
We're gonna have, the state does not want to, in other words, if you're gonna do a temporary transfer, it's traditional that you move a whole precinct.
Right,
And we're asking the state to move just a certain number of voters,
Right.
which isn't the best legal thing to do.
But they've agreed to let us do it this time.
The only thing, but Dawn and I have spoken, kind of off the record, the only thing that's probably keeping us straight is those people in that 58, it's much closer and much less trouble for them to go to Best Smith
Best
Park
Smith, yeah.
than it is to go all the way around into Twin Lakes.
right.
And go through that in a good situation. So that's where we are, just to give a more in-depth explanation than we were able to do at the emergency meeting.
Mhm.
There's maybe what, 4 churches in that side of Gibsonville, I think.
We've been in one and that one was too small.
That was Cappadocia.
Yeah.
One time,
It was on Joyner Street, I can't remember. the name of it.
Church of God.
Yeah.
yeah, Church of God, yeah.
And then there's one up closer to town. And
We went in there and what was,
Right there in the curve near the
I
county line,
remember that we
just
went
inside of Alabama County.
Yeah, but I remember when they were in Cappadocia, it was
It's near where the old
real small, it's a real small church, really small.
Well, no, it would be
Um,
to the.
So, we're really between a rock and a hard place with facilities in Alamance County.
Right there.
In any part of
County line.
Alamance County.
Yeah. Isn't there an old schoolhouse right there?
What side of Gibsonville is that community center on?
Big church.
Guilford.
That's a Guilford.
Okay.
I mean, I've been in there, but
That's a
mean,
nice place too.
it is a really nice place. But it's on the Guilford County side, okay. Hmm.
So that's something we'll have to address sooner than later.
So you think the only time we'll be able to do what we're doing now is for now? And so by the time the next election comes around, we are going to have something in place?
I'm not saying have to, but I mean, the state is not looking responsible on it.
And that will be in March.
So our
Did you
our
tell them we are-
timeline for that would be mid-December.
Yeah, because you have to, you have to notify everybody within so many days.
Yes. Yeah,
But will they allow you to have two precincts in the same location?
They would, but that Best Smith Park is, I mean, that's not big enough for two.
Okay. Got a lot of parking there.
There's a lot of parking, but the buildings, the interior is small.
it is.
Yeah.
It's a nice place.
Mhm.
But then trying to navigate, it's a lot of parking, but when you get in there, trying to navigate in and out would be difficult. I mean, it would just be hectic.
Kind of like the outlets over. And then,
Whoever drew the outlets drew that,
ooh,
drew that,
Or Allen's Crossing.
yeah.
Yes,
that's right.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, whoever drew that.
Is there, sorry,
Go ahead.
is there any way possible down the road that Twin Lakes could be its own precinct? That is, that it would incorporate that section that's newly been built on the west side of it, and the health center that's in the central boom, all in just one Twin Lakes?
But first of all, that's the way it started out, was everything was all in one Twin Lakes. And then as Twin Lakes grew, it outgrew its own boundaries.
Yeah.
And so unless the General Assembly splits the census block line, then, or allows us to split the census block line, and they haven't done that,
Yeah.
then that's the only way that we can do that.
Can one appeal to the General Assembly for that?
Which one of the your representatives might be able to appeal, but,
Probably, couldn't they
And
do
they
that?
would probably have more
They
insight.
could do that with a local bill, I would think. If you just wanted to change that, make Twin Lakes one district, what you're talking about, one precinct, probably get our local delegation to do a local
That's
bill.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It would probably be the local people that we have in Raleigh who would have to take it to the General Assembly.
How long is you can't bring a census block rule in effect?
Maybe 5 years, somewhere in there, 4 years.
The first I heard of it was when we
Yeah.
were doing that.
Yeah,
So.
So relatively
I
recently.
suggest,
So is it about that long?
Yeah, the expansion's caused the problem, that's what created the problem.
And
We're
one
sure we're not
thing
the
is,
only one.
Oh,
if
no.
we were to do that, if the General Assembly was to make that ruling,
Yeah.
and then what if Twin Lakes expands again outside of their own
And you'd
boundaries?
have to change it again.
I'm happy that they're expanding because it's an excellent facility, but it does complicate things for.
Yeah. I don't think they have any more space. expand.
oh, I don't know.
They might start building in
I
Church
don't
Street.
know. They were gonna build down North Church Street, I don't know, at one time.
So right now, we need to try to find a place in, West Gibsonville, in that precinct, West Boone,
But it'd be
which is
east
West
side of
Gibsonville.
Gibsonville, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the east side.
East side of Gibsonville.
East side, yeah. Yeah. Yes, you're right.
And we could try looking at that church again. We'll discuss that part.
I mean, you can see churches and things, but you have to know whether they're on the Alamance County side or the Guilford County side.
Right.
Well, if you see something, definitely you can call the office and we can look it up on the GIS.
So if we go before we get to downtown Gibsonville, then we're on the Alamance County side.
Hmm.
Probably.
Before you get to the train tracks.
There's a church right there, near the train tracks,
Yeah.
right on the county line. It's on Alamance County side.
Okay,
And, that would be,
I think that's the one we looked at.
might be the one y'all looked at maybe.
I think the Burke Manor sits right on the line.
Yeah, it does. And
Okay.
This one
Okay.
sits,
So it's like right on, like that property divides the line. So
Yeah.
if you're thinking,
yeah, and this church sits just to the east of Burke Manor.
Okay,
is where it sits,
okay.
yeah.
And to be totally transparent, at the time we were looking at that church, we were being pushed by one of the candidates to go to that church, and that candidate was a member of the church. And it was a little uncomfortable.
right.
Yeah.
And that's the brick church that's right on the curve
Yes,
there?
sir. Yes, sir. The
Yeah.
front comes out, almost all the way out to the road now.
True.
And
Yeah.
you look out the front door and the train tracks.
I went by yesterday and, there's a for sale sign in front of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's their one.
okay.
Let's don't go anywhere else that's up for sale.
No, please. Not now. Okay, any other?
It's all the drama I have.
Well, we have enough, don't we? Okay. Well, is there any other business to come before this board? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved in second, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.